Greetings YouTube. Whoa. Welcome to another Knife Guy channel. My name is Ashton and today we're going to be taking a look at this guy, the Cold Steel Code 4. Hey Roscoe, what's up buddy? Yep, me and Roscoe are going to be taking a look at the Code 4. He's giving me a hug. Okay, yeah, alright, okay. Okay guys. Alright, Roscoe. Cold Steel Code 4 long-term review.
Well now, isn't that sweet? Some guy with a dog trying to get some clickies on YouTube. Well, I took this knife from him. I'm the rightful owner anyway. This is the Cold Steel Code 4. Fantastic knife from Cold Steel. Len Thompson, again, is one of my very favorite CEOs of anything ever. He is actually my spirit animal. Now, before I get too far into this, I want you to go give my buddy a like and a subscribe down below there. Leave a comment. Tell me what your favorite Cold Steel is. This is probably pretty up there in my favorites. It's a slim knife. It's probably one of Cold Steel's most reasonable. And I'm saying, you know, reasonable is a good thing, I guess, in this situation. Especially if you're talking about an EDC knife. Now, this knife is a consummate EDC. Now, why is that? We'll get into that in just a second. But first, we have to do some size comparisons. My God, there's some trash on there. It's a little starburst wrapper. Anyway, we got to do some size comparisons. Always makes me feel funny when I say that. First off, let's do a couple of my other favorite EDCs. That is the ProTech Master-Op Ferrum Forge Mordax. Mordax means to cut in Latin, I believe. And then we have the Spyderco Spydie Chef. Now, I think with favors comparably inside. You see this size comparison a lot. The reason I bring my buddy, another knife guy, brings these knives out a lot is because they're great. They're great knives. They're slim. They're easy to carry, and they got reasonably good steels on them. You know, these are really great examples of some EDC knives. So that's for the size comparison of those two EDCs. We'll go with something a little bit more cold steely. Here we have it against the Cold Steel Recon 1. Now we got it in a late 90s, early 2000s spec with a half serrated blade there. I went ahead and I chipped away at the black DLC coating. They don't do it very well. So, and then we got another one of my favorite Cold Steels, Cold Steel Fendwolf. So a nice intermediate size here. We got a blade range of about 3.5, 3.6 inches, something like that. And then how about something just completely out of the line here? So we got a Voyager extra large Voyager. So as you can see, it's not an extra large Voyager. There we go. Perfect. All right. And then, of course, we got these two little beauties so that everybody can get a sense of how big the Code 4 actually is. Right in that same size range as the Rat Model 1 there. But if you take these guys up to the thinness side, look at that there, buddy. Oh yeah, Code 4 is a slim knife. Let's talk about that a little bit in the actual review. Code 4, Cold Steel by Cold Steel. This is definitely, like I said before, one of their most reasonable knives that they have on their in their inventory. I know I made a video about the AD-15 being the best Cold Steel. Well, if you like something a little easier to carry, a little less weight, then this might be the best Cold Steel out there, buddy. Really got to tell you that. So yeah, you got to get a Code 4 if you're thinking about it. This is probably the best knife you can get for under $100. That will last you. That won't wear out. You know, it's got a good steel on there. There's S35VN. Got a nice T6 6061 aluminum body with a hard coat anodization. A really strong cold steel triad lock designed by Andrew Demko. The way the triad lock works here is you got your traditional back lock, you got your tang of your blade, and then you got this little stop pin right there. This stop pin interfaces, if I can focus, with the tang of the blade and the front of the lock bar, creating a very strong lock. Now, in order to make this lock fail, you basically have to uproot this pin from this body, which is not going to be very easy. That being said, Cold Steel has managed to make one of the strongest locking mechanisms on the knife market today. Now, why is that important? Well, to be completely honest with you, it's just a bragging right. I like Cold Steel knives because I know I can stand on them if I have to hammer them into a tree and retrieve my little kitty up on the top branch. I know I can rely on my Cold Steel if I'm falling from a cliff and have to jam my knife in the side of a rocky outcropping and manage to catch a ledge there. So yeah, your Cold Steel Triad Lock is going to be basically the strongest locking mechanism you can find on the market that is not a fixed blade. Now, with that being said, if there's anybody out there hammering their knife into a tree, standing on it to retrieve a kitty, I'll tell you right now, there's a fire department. You can call them, they'll take care of it for you. If you're falling off the side of a cliff, let me tell you something, your knife ain't gonna save you, all right? Triad Lock is as strong as a I don't know, as a beaver making an iron dam or something. Did I just really say that? Anyway, so yeah, your Triad Lock's going to be strong. Now, one thing I want to say about Cold Steel knives in general, and one of the reasons they're one of my favorite companies is because usually Cold Steel knives come in at a very, very aggressive price point for the build quality and the materials involved. Now, like I said, this is an S35VN blade steel with T6 6061 aircraft grade aluminum with a hard coat anodizing, and you're coming in right around 75 bucks. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. The first Cold Steel I got was that XL Voyager I pulled out a little while ago, and then the second one I got was my Code 4. Reason for that is, as I'm sure a lot of you are in the same boat, you get a Cold Steel, you get a knife in general, you start browsing the internet, as we all do, and you happen upon something that strikes you. Now, this struck me because the lines were clean, the design was clean, and the blade shapes were very attractive. Now, I settled on this American Tanto blade shape, American Tanto. So a nice juxtaposition of design aesthetics here. You get a nice, sleek, modern-looking blade with a nice, organic-looking handle. And I really like the color of the hard coat anodization they do here. So yeah, you know, I happened upon this very early in my knife collecting hobby, and I gotta say, it has proven itself as one of the best knives in my collection. I cannot get it out of my pockets even after about a year of owning it, and that's also in comparison to all the other knives that I showed you. The Mordax, the Spidey Chef, and the Code 4 have been really the best knives that I have come across as far as production knives are concerned in my knife collecting hobby. And you know, for reasons I can't really define. It's personal to everybody. But if you are on the fence about the Cold Steel Code 4, let me tell you something. You are not going to be disappointed. This was an impulse buy for me, but it has stayed in my collection. The thumb action, it's amazing. Nice and smooth, broken in well. It has a really nice sound when it locks up. So if you're into that, man, it'll pop. It'll snap open, it'll pop, and it's great. So yeah, you know, I mean, the Cold Steel Code 4 is just one of those knives that is a great design, great aesthetic, great materials, and a great price. And it's this amalgamation of good things. The only complaint I can have about it really would be the design of the pocket clip. It's a little it's a little tight, but I will say that compared to most other Cold Steels, it's relatively easy to get in and out of the pocket. Now, one thing I do also have to complain about is this exposed tang here. Now, a lot of times when I got this in my pocket, you know, my back pocket or something, and I'm working around styrofoam or something like that, maybe some foam board insulation, and I'm cutting a lot with this, the exposed tang will sometimes get a piece of debris kind of stuck in there, and then when you go to flick it open, you won't get a solid lockup. Now, that's literally only happened maybe one time in the entire year that I've been using this knife, and it's been being used pretty heavily. This is actually my abuse knife. I beat this thing up, let me tell you what. Yeah, it's one of those things. So you really just kind of have to take it into consideration that the exposed blade tang might not be the best if you're in really sort of debris-ish type situations there. Anyway, so I hope you guys, you know, like I said, if you guys are on the fence about the Code 4, if you're looking, you know, if you're early into your knife collecting hobby, if you're just looking at the Code 4 for your first knife, this is a fantastic knife. This is probably the most recommended knife I can give to somebody completely new to the knife hobby. So yeah, Code 4, you can't go wrong, man. Anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.